Any other questions?
In looking at the amounts proposed there, I was a little confused, maybe a lot confused. Proposed annual fee for 17 through 20 was one amount, and then there was a monthly fee for the same time period. Can you explain that? Because if you add up 12 times the monthly fee, it's a different amount than the yearly fee. I think, if I've got it right. Proposed annual fee is $112,000 change. Monthly fee is $9,300, and of course 9,300 times 12 is $118,000 plus, actually $121,000. So we got $9,000 difference if we pay monthly. Yeah. I know somebody can explain this and make it look like it's so simple.
My calculator says 9,337.03 times 12 equals 112.04436. So it's 1 cent off.
9,000 times 12, that's 18.
So I apologize that
oh, okay,
it's 1
no,
cent
you're
off.
right, you're right. I was doing that in my head, and I get it now.
Okay.
That's evenly divided. Thank you very much.
I got a penny.
Sorry, folks.
No, the penny, that wasn't what I saw. I was off $9,000.
I'm sure they'll come back to me on my
probably
next
got it.
6-month review.
I
Thank you.
probably got a penny first.
I'm glad I got that wrong. All right, thank you.
Are we good? Other questions? I was going to say, I eyeballed it and thought it looked right, but math is not my
Yeah,
strong suit.
well, but I get we're doing it in my head, not on the calculator.
Not Dylan's either.
Obviously.
I just want everyone to know, had he been correct, I would have blamed Miss Falcon and Miss Fresno. So I'm glad we worked that one out.
All right.
All right. Any other questions on that for the wastewater? I would just like to say again, reiterating, I appreciate all of the hard work that people put into making sure that our water treatment plant continues to function. And there was a time when we had lagoons. There was a time before the lagoons, my understanding, when it emptied out into the creek. That's, am I right? This is what,
Regal Park.
yeah, that is what Mayor Hall tells me. And of course the mayor, yes, and the mayor won't claim this, but, I mean, he will, but he is very humble. But he was a big part of getting that water treatment plant created. It had happened just before I moved here. And it was a very forward-thinking thing for this community to apply for the grant to get that built, to make that happen, so that we would have this infrastructure to keep us safe, to keep our water supply safe, to keep our community safe. And I feel a very strong responsibility to maintain it. And I appreciate everything that Mr. Schussman and the rest of our staff and the folks at the water treatment plant are doing to make that happen. Because it's not happening everywhere. And it's critical. I mean, it's one of those things we take for granted every day, that you walk in and flip the switch and the water comes on and you turn it off and you flush and it goes away and everything is safe and everything is okay, except in some places it's not. Because you have to maintain all those pipes that are under the ground.
Okay, may I ask Mr. Stressman a question?
Certainly.
I'm how close to the fellow at Steelworks catching up with getting all the plumbing and everything where it should be? Do you have any monetary figures or time frame?
In the plant?
At the plant, yes.
The plant's always going to be an ongoing thing. It's a big machine, and machines need parts. And, so we're going to have to dedicate, my recommendation is going to be $60,000 a year to a capital fund, capital improvement for the wastewater treatment plant. That should keep us going pretty well for the next 10 years.
Okay, good. Well, I knew with the money that was left over that they felt like that we caught up a lot. I just didn't know how far. So that's great.
Yeah, it got the critical infrastructure. It got the reactors rebuilt, and that was the big thing. There's still things that need upgrading in the plant, but they're smaller
think if I recall, you spoke to us about this at the end of that USDA grant after we had discharged the last of the money. And I asked that question, and you said that you felt that we were within the scope of what could be managed through what we would normally apportion.
Right, we have a capital improvement plan that's
Right.
in place for the treatment plant.
Where previously we were not even within the scope of what can be handled by us.
Right, barring any disasters or major malfunctions, we're in pretty good shape.
So that was a huge thing that we all undertook and that our community was willing to undertake and trust us with. Yes, Lisa?
When we toured that, I was just so impressed with those folks and the level of education and licenses and certifications that they have to have in microbiology and chemistry and just fixing pipes and making things work was amazing. And they said that the pool for getting people that can work these jobs was so shallow, and the places even to get the education was difficult. And we talked about bringing in our high school kids from our biology classes and chemistry classes to tour this and maybe spark some interest in doing this kind of a job. So I don't know if we can do that in the future, approach our schools and say, hey, bring your brain trust in here and maybe they'd be interested.
When that plant first opened, and again, I know this in a completely different capacity, as the president of the garden club at the time, interacting with the head of the DPW, who was Jerry Hall, who is now the mayor, he came to me and said, we're giving tours on a regular basis of this new wonderful facility from people all over who want to come see it. Could you plant some flowers to make it look good? So the garden club did that. We have pictures. So that used to be a thing we did all the time. I'm not sure what exactly happened that we stopped doing that. I don't know if we just stopped having interest.
Planting flowers, we'd have to talk to the garden club about that.
No, the tours.
I don't know either.
Okay.
I've taken now, I think, 4 tours of the wastewater treatment plant, and we'd certainly be open to the possibility of taking members of the public. Just it's been a whirlwind of the 6 months, and
Sure.
maybe next year.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But we used to have a regular schedule of once a month or whatever it was, and then beyond that, it could be scheduled. Like if you wanted to bring an entire bus of 3rd graders or whatever, which sounds amazing that they would want to go look at our poop. But it used to be a thing, and it was a thing we were all quite proud of, actually. And I'm still quite proud of it. And if there's a specific reason we're not doing it, then I understand that. But I would love to see that maintained. If, again, in your copious spirit.
Sure.
So yeah, does that kind of...
Yeah, if we're going to be desperate for people that know how to run these things,
It's a thing.
at some point, internships are available. Let's try to look at that.
I just want people to know
They
how
follow.
this works.
Yeah, it's tough.
That it isn't magic. A lot of money and effort and time and technology and brains and so on. This is not every country in the world, not every city in the world has this. It's a thing, as the high school kids say. So, have we fully fleshed that out? Anyone else have any? I'll get off my wastewater treatment plant. Exciting oratory about water treatment. Item F, first reading of the farmers market ordinance.
Okay. So similar, I'd like to read the header on this one. Ordinance, we don't have a number yet, or maybe we do, and I just didn't put it in there. An ordinance to amend Chapter 40, Section 40-133, Table of Uses, and to amend Chapter 24, Peddlers, Solicitors, and Transient Merchants of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cedar Springs. I brought this to you guys in the past. Basically, you're changing the districts of B2, B3, and MU, which is kind of the downtown core area, to permit a farmer's market. Now, there's a couple of different places in town that a farmer's market could be held. I am in discussions with Mr. Ringler about holding it in his parking lot, holding it in the new library's parking lot's a possibility. Holding it in the White Pine Trail staging area is a possibility. And so that covers those areas. But the overall effect of this ordinance would be to transfer the permission of the farmer's market from the planning commission to the city manager's office. I'm in my office, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'm one individual. If they had to go to planning commission, it would require a 30-day lead time, 15-day public notice, broadcast in the newspaper, $200 charge for that, and then you have to have 9 people agree.
Or 5, but.
Yes. Up to 9, I guess. Anyway, so this ordinance would allow the city to permit this on a more regular, less cumbersome basis.
Okay.
I
Thoughts?
have a question. Well, being that it's an ordinance thing with districts, doesn't that part have to go before planning commission? Before
It does. So this will also be sent to the planning commission at their March meeting after a public hearing, this new one. And they will have to approve it, and at that point it will come to you for passage. So yes.
I have one question on it. When it comes down to your consideration, are we using, because it is still a special use, right?
It would
Based
be,
on, go ahead.
so currently, it would be a special land use in the B2, B3 districts and not permitted in the MU district. It would change to permitted in B2, B3, MU, but the rest of the ordinance change then makes it a requirement that they seek out permission from City Hall. So there's still restrictions on it.
For the standards on this, would they be basically the same thing, looking at parking, traffic flow, restrooms, and so on and so forth?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Other questions? Other questions? Ms. Hell?
What would is there a permit fee? Probably not for Jay, because it's on his property, but if someone puts one on a public property?
I think the language that I used was may or can, and it's certainly not going to be prohibited if there is. Everything I do costs money to the city. So I do sometimes have to bill my time in reviewing these things and improving things. 10, 15, $20 maybe.
About the same as maybe a community event amp cost?
Yeah,
Not so much.
something.
Okay.
Community event doesn't cost
I don't think the community event application costs anything, but
$200 check per deposit.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so reviewing a sign application I think costs $25. Once we have these rules in place, it shouldn't be a difficult thing to do.
I would like to see a deposit, like the community app has a check on deposit in case there's damage or you had to pick up something.
Sure, so there's 2 parts to this. This is the first part. You pass the ordinance giving power to the city manager.
Okay.
Then the city manager has to come up with a set of rules for a farmer's market
All right. That we would then
that you would then approve.
approve. Okay. Yes?
Yes.
Everyone feel good?
Got it.
All right. Item G, first reading of the ordinance to dissolve the Downtown Development Authority of the City of Cedar Springs.
Sure. So I do this with heavy heart, but this is part of bringing the Downtown Development Authority back, I think, to full funding. So the City of Cedar Springs would ordain Chapter 12 Community Development, Article 2, Section 12-46 is added as follows, and the language is just dissolving the Downtown Development Authority.
And to be clear, this is the thing that the Downtown Development Authority is asking us to do.
They are.
It is not, we are not putting this on the downtown, this is not a hostile takeover. This is
It's
not
not
a,
with the intent that the DDA is going to be done. We're still going to have a committee that meets and discusses what we want to do when we actually come back and then, or we got a baseline where we can actually get some money to do something. Because right now, we just meet for the sake of meeting and we talk about what we want to do, and then we get shut down because our money goes toward, money is granted from the city council to the DDA, but then it's used for covering the maintenance of the plannings and stuff like that, they went back to the general fund, so there's really no ever money in there more than $500 that you can do anything with. So in hopes that, when it comes back, we actually have a tax base where we can have money come in, where we don't have to get a gracious amount from the city council every year, and it can be its actual own funds.
So I have a question regarding that. So having it reformed based on the lower tax base, how does that assist? I guess I didn't understand that.
Because right now, we're set up for, we get the percentage on what the property value is above where it used to be, not where the property value is right now,
You get a percentage from what?
from the tax. The city collects from people,
They get a percentage, we can pass through, they can choose to pass through a percentage of the taxes that are collected directly with the DDA.
instead of going into general funds, it goes into the DDA, and the DDA spends that money to beautify the downtown area.
Right.
And in communities where they actually have money, they take care of some of the curbings and stuff like that. It doesn't cost the taxpayers any more money. It's just, the DDA is the avenue of where a lot of that escaping comes from versus DPW and general funds.
So when it reforms, and we recognize that we're at a lower tax base than we were, would they be passed through a higher percentage? I'm
No.
terribly lost, I'm sorry.
Harry, can I take a shot at this? Yeah. So back in 1990, when this was originally passed, property values are up here.
Sure,
2008 comes, property values go down here.
right.
So right now, we're underwater.
Mm.
There's no increase above this level where we're actually collecting tip taxes. So the hope is,
It's the tip money that gets passed through.
so now we dissolve, we bring it back eventually. Now the property level's down here. Now the economy's improving, so it's going up.
Okay.
So now we're here, and all the money that's between here and here, the DDA collects part of that.
Well, very good.
They get a percentage on the
Now I
tip.
get it. Okay,
Now,
thank you.
for the citizens' benefit, this is no new tax on the people.
Okay.
This is it's money being taken basically from the general fund of the city and going towards the DDA. So it's no new tax on the people, it's just a difference of where the money actually goes.
And it's a structural piece that was designed for DDAs based upon property tax growth.
Because the eventual goal, of course, is for the DDA to use that money to then turn around and increase property values again.
So essentially, we're zeroing out our budget, and this is just an accounting maneuver.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good way to look at it. Okay. Other questions about it? All right. Action items. Section 8. Item A. Resolution number 2017-02, a resolution to approve an industrial facilities exemption certificate for display pack.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, we do have Mr. Hanson in the audience. I think it's appropriate to offer him a chance to speak if he so chooses.
Okay. Mr. Hanson, would you like to speak?
He's just happy to stand up.
Appreciate the consideration of this matter. Just want you to know, we at Display Pack don't do IFT requests very often. I've been president for 14 years, we've done one in Grand Rapids. We spend typically millions of dollars on an ongoing basis for new equipment, upgrading our facilities. Probably spending another $1 million later this year to bring the rest of our company up. We're only doing IFT requests if there's a very huge technical project going on, like building new offices, new parking, infrastructure. So, I just want you to be aware of the fact that you won't see me here very often for these kind of requests. I appreciate your consideration.
Okay. We would be okay with you building lots.
Yeah, we would.
It would be okay.
Absolutely.
If every time you add $1 million building, you would like to come request,
We're 12 million now.
yeah, we can have that conversation. All right.
I'll make
What
a
is the
motion
will of
to
the
approve.
council?
Madam Chair, I move that we...
We have a motion.
Sorry.
Mr. Hopkins motioned.
You what?
Mr. Hopkins motioned.
Oh, he motioned? Okay, second.
Well, I I thought you said I motioned.
I was actually gonna read it for a change.
Alright,
Okay. Mr. Hopkins motioned, Mr. Clark seconded. I will do a roll call. Mr. Clark?
yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Nixon?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mr. Gross?
Yes.
And the Madam Mayor Pro Tem says yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Moving on to item B, motion to approve City of Cedar Springs Title VI Non-Discrimination Plan Update and Sub-Recipient Application for Certification of Title VI and EEO Compliance Assurances.
That was a mouthful.
What?
They changed the name from Thad Taylor to Mike Womack.
That's good to know.
Actually, I think it's Michael Womack, which is a little strange for me, but
Okay.
that's the only change.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And there's no money involved, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Moving on to item C, motion to approve budget amendments as 12/31/16. And this is basically a correction to solve some accounting difficulties that we came across, if I understand correctly.
Yes, that's my understanding as well. Thankfully, I'm able to hire somebody who's much smarter than me to discuss this matter at greater length, if council would like to hear from her.
Ms. Falcon, would you like to address this? You can
There's
say it.
actually a law that, a budget is a living document, and you should not be spending money that your budget doesn't identify you have. Basically this, last month we did the library budget amendments. This is the rest of the funds. As long as your revenues match your expenses, in total, you have a balanced budget. So the bold amounts there in the general fund, we're amending it $5,870, revenue and expense. On the sewer fund, a lot of this was the USDA grant and the incoming SAW grant that we're just beginning to work on. So you see there $774,780, both revenue and expense. And then the water fund, that was the USDA project as well, $85,870, both revenue and expense. Continue to have a balanced budget.
Like I said, much smarter than me.
Thank you, Darla.
Any other questions?
Does this affect our fund balance?
Let's see, in the general fund, it does not. In the sewer fund, it does not. And in the water fund, at this point, we are showing that we're gonna dip into fund balance by $13,870, but probably by June 30th, we will not have to, just due to other,
Got it.
not spending every penny in every other line item.
Very good, thank you.
Other questions? What's the will of council?
I'll make the motion to approve budget amendments. Approve it 12/31/16.
Second.
This involves money, so I will do a roll call. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Nixon?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mr. Gross?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, the motion carries. Item D, motion to approve IT rights quotes, ITRQ 7785, ITRQ 7786, and ITRQ 7826 for the purchase of a new computer server in an amount not to exceed $3,775, new email hosting in an amount not to exceed $1,971, and a new email spam filtering, whoa, we certainly want that one, in an amount not to exceed $300.
Yeah, so as you're laughing, of course, we've had significant issues here with our computers since we lost our previous IT service. It was being held together by bubblegum and duct tape. The server was doing double time, hosting the email service and all the computer's network issues. It's time for an upgrade. I'd ask that you adopt this and approve these recommendations for upgrading our service.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why does the emailing system not have an option to click spam on an item? Because some of them are all from the same address And if you fail to hit spam, they would go into your spam account and wouldn't keep coming through.
Yeah, it took me a few minutes to figure this one out myself. In Outlook, they have something called rules, and basically what you have to do is set a rule that this is spam. So it's a little bit more complicated than, say, like a Yahoo or a Gmail account. Maybe a little bit more archaic in that way. But maybe we'll have to...
There's a box to click. So I found out earlier this evening that there's a box you can go click to tell specific things to go to your spam filter. I would have to have the tech support husband explain it to
It's
you.
not one
I
that's
didn't see it.
spam.
It's, well, you have to go to another screen.
Oh.
I don't know how else to, I don't know.
Well, hopefully we won't have this problem any longer in the near
So-
future.
I don't know. I think we could get a planning commissioner that knows how to do this to come give you a tutorial because you fixed it online. That's about all I got. So,
Just come put an email, send it to us.
Manager, may I ask a question?
Certainly.
So the numbers there, the 3775, they're going to build that server for us?
Yeah, that's the entire quote. If you'll see the actual quote, it's the purchase of the server, it's the installation of the software, it's the addition of a 2 terabyte hard drive,
Yeah.
backup service, and then the labor.
Is it, pardon me, is that two terabyte hard drives?
It would appear to be, yeah.
Okay, what's our current capacity on our server we have now? Do you have
I
any
think we're only using a couple hundred gigabytes, to be honest.
Wow.
So I would have to talk to them about why they feel we need 2 terabytes.
That's a lot.
Of course, memory is cheap.
It is right now. It's not a bad idea. And then the 1971, that's like a fee we're going to pay them. The
This
new
email
email
hosting?
hosting.
Yeah, well, part of it is a subscription license for all the emails. And then there is the price for reconfiguring it in the new service, the new Exchange service. So some of that will come on a regular basis for the hosting.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But it appears to be 2/3 of it is porting everything, making sure everything works on the new system. And then we'll have a smaller amount each year we'll have to pay for hosting.
Thank you.
and the spam filter is worth every penny.
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Howell.
I certainly support us upgrading our computer system as we've struggled for 2.5 years with it, with different issues. But the only thing I don't know is, are we supposed to go out and get 3 bids on all these things? Do you know?
The difficulty is that we have a professional service that we pay to do this stuff for us. And, yeah, I mean, if we were purchasing it ourselves, that would certainly be something I would do. But this is a professional service that is getting the best work and best prices for us. So they're kind of doing it on our behalf.
Right. And I support that. I just don't want to think that we're going
Well,
out
I
of
think
our funds.
we put the bid out when we hired the company to do
Right.
the service.
Okay.
And then you don't bid every time, when you hire a company, you don't then bid every single thing that company does within the structure of that.
Right, okay.
Like if they say you need this thing, you buy this thing.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know if our contract says that, but they would like it.
Well, I mean, I think it would be clunky.
It would be.
Well, then is everyone's software going to play nicely together?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Just as well as she brought it up, because somebody may be inquiring that themselves, it's not here.
I think I'm happy to have that conversation. I'm glad Ms. Powell addressed it, because again, a big piece of what we do is to try to also make sure it's available and visible to the public, and I think that's good. But I do think the appropriate answer is we went out to bid for a company to provide us services. And then from within that, when they make certain recommendations about things we need to do, we don't necessarily bid every single piece of that.
We could have Manager Womack look into that contract and see if that is part of it. I'm guessing it is. I don't know.
Well, yes and no. It's partially what Ms. Nixon is saying, and that is there have been some quotes that they've sent me that I then turn around and go on Amazon and buy it for half the price. But for something as complex as an entire email service, an entire server, an entire spam filter, you know, I'm not going to go put an RFP out for that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's getting everything to play nice together.
Right.
Our, part of the way I look at it is that if we price it and we buy it, we still have to employ them to install it. It's probably not going to save us much one way or the other.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff is very specialized. I'm kind of equating it like with the water treatment plant, where we went out to bid with certain things, but there's certain things where you just say, this is the company we went with, so this is the product that they make. That is what fits on the equipment that we have, and you do that. Because that's the one that works. So I see that as being like a part of this with the email hosting. I mean, if you're doing our email, then I guess you need the one that works with our email. Because we've all had email that doesn't work. We know how that rolls. So,
Well, I certainly support that. I just want to make sure we're on the right track.
does that answer everyone's question?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Motion's been made,
Second.
and because this involves money, we will do a roll call. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Nixon?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mr. Gross?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Moving on to item E, Michigan Winter Fest as presented by Yankees Upper Racing Community Event application.
I will state that Mr. McHugh is in the audience. I'm not sure we want to let him speak, though. Briefly, please, sir.
By the way, I got a dog.
Gonna sell it?
Did you adopt it?
Actually, I got a thumb that got dislocated the other day and a hand that is on fire because a pit bull jumped over and put 37 stitches in the back of the nicest dog on the planet.
No.
Wow.
And my truck was getting worked on. This thing come across the parking lot and I'm gonna go get me a CCW permit because I never hit an animal or a person more in my life with that fist, and he did not care.
No.
Yep. And the guy that owned the dog, he felt real bad about it. He hasn't begun to feel bad about it yet. But anyway,
So, Mr. McHugh, we've had you here before, and you're very entertaining, but we're now on an hour 45 for this part of you.
yes, sir.
Mother Nature doesn't seem to be agreeing with you, and
We're not speaking.
even though we've approved your alcohol resolution, you've indicated to me that you don't have an approved vendor. Could you please address those two things?
The approved vendor that we're looking for is still in search of. I'm gonna basically put it off to next week. I need to get the footwork done on this and get everything all ready to go and we're all on the same darn page. I had the Moose Lodge in Sparta, Michigan that I thought was gonna jump all over this, and they're not. They're a bunch of folks that just don't wanna exert any energy apparently, so, I am going to go out of my way to see about the local folk trade here in Cedar Springs. I understand that the festival that is in town here has a Lions Club, is that correct? It does that?
No, Lions Club doesn't. They've never done it before.
Who does the one here during
The
That
Red
belongs
Flannel
to-
Festival?
Red Flannel
They put it
Festival.
on.
That's the
They
Lions.
get all the.
No, that's not the Lions. That's the Red Flannel Festival.
Okay, then what I'll do is I'll go knock on their door and go, hey, who you got?
The Red Flannel Festival does their own.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh,
They get all the
okay, so
licenses and all the trainings.
I got 365 days to go find somebody new,
Maybe
to
the
work
cheaper.
on with this. Because as I said before, I'm gonna search out a bunch of the stuff, Barry and I work on some different things that we can talk about, but, I don't wanna do it because I'm good at building racetracks and I'm good at running events. I want people that know how to run a beer tent do that, you sub the thing up, let people, I own a construction company too, let people that really like hanging drywall, because I suck at it up there, so that's where you do that. So let's let them do that, or that portion of it.
Mother Nature?
Yeah, realistically, what's gonna happen here, we're gonna kind of make a big announcement all over the World Wide Web, and the power of Facebook hopefully helps me out with this. This event's not gonna happen this year. It's not gonna happen on February 17th and 18th. The key to the event is having at least 6 inches of packed snow on that snowmobile trail. It's not there, it's not gonna happen. We have talked to Display Pack, and we talked to the guys at Wolverine. There are piles and piles and piles of snow that they would just absolutely love to have us come and get out of their parking lots. It'll cost us 5 times as much to move that snow simply across the street as to what we would ever make, because that snowmobile trail does not have any snow on it. So the only thing that we're looking at, and this is an incredibly slim chance, is last year, I had the same thing happen. I mean, who'd have thunk? In the middle of February, I could mow, right?
Right.
I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be wondering, where am I going to put all this snow to park all these people that are coming to this thing? And it's happened to me again. So I guess what I'm saying is the only thing where this would happen is if some freak storm comes through and dumps 20 inches of snow on a Monday, and it's not going to be 50 by Thursday. See, that's what's killing me right now. Everybody today, you know, the weatherman saying, oh my gosh, it's so cold out. Yeah, it's 12. That's not cold for me, okay? It's going to be 47 degrees on Saturday and rain all day Sunday, so it's going to kill us. So if we could get, as time goes by here, you know, in the next 4 weeks, okay, in that period of time, if we can get this freak storm to show up, and I can pull something off to where the snow that I need to make this show happen is not going to melt the next day, then that's about the only thing that we could do, to which I have to get with my EMTs and my security people and a whole bunch of other people and go, hey, what do you think? Because I got to get everybody that's going to play on the same baseball diamond that I'm playing on to all be in the same place at the same time. And it's going to be like that, guys. It's going to be like, you know, I mean, if you see a big storm coming, hey, Jimmy's going to call you. You know, what do you guys think? You know, and that's kind of where we're at. So other than that, we are going to basically reschedule the show. I've got it all written up on my Word program right now. It's going to hit the internet on Sunday afternoon. This show is rescheduled for February 16th and 17th, 2018. That's where we're kind of going to be.
Mr. McHugh, so you're not planning on holding this event this year then?
No, unless, it's all right with you guys, unless some major storm comes by, then I'll fill the town back up with people, because I have my phone shut off right now. It's died on me twice today. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you think I'm doing? I'm going to go mow the grass. I'm not racing.
I think part of the issue for this council is, you know, we allow these community events on particular dates.
Yes, sir.
I don't think we're going to be in a position, or should we, approve it and then say, yeah, whenever you feel like having it's fine. You know, I wouldn't be opposed to approving you having this event, but we need to kind of know when it's going to happen.
Could we say between February 17th and 18th is not going to happen? Between then, contingency between then and April 1st.
I guess
I don't want to compete against the issue.
What I would want to do, if that was the case, is my council has been very willing to work with people and coming into a special session and then passing it at that point. Because I don't want to just give you carte blanche at this point, not knowing any of the details. So I would ask council to table this or something, and then we can come back at a later date when Mr. McHugh has a set date, and we can approve it at that point.
If I make sure, realistically, that ain't gonna happen. As I was saying before, it snows like crazy on a Monday. Okay, I can pull this off on a Saturday. So I could not, in good standing or conscience or whatever, you guys would go, hey, yeah, sure, March 17th will run it. I don't know. So if we could put it up to where I'd be more than willing.
I think you're misunderstanding what the manager is offering. I think what he's saying, if I can clarify, is that the council will be willing, in the event that we had a big snowstorm and you felt that there was the option to make this happen,
okay,
that we would be willing to convene a special meeting to approve it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I'm kind of grading on that. All right.
All you have to do is contact my office. I would then contact these fine individuals. We come in, we vote on it, and then you get your approval.
Okay, my
We all
bad.
live close enough to walk in the event of a really bad snowstorm.
And
We all live close enough to walk in the event of a really bad
Yeah,
snowstorm.
yeah, that's,
and you
that's.
would only need 4 of us for a quorum.
You know, I mean,
No, we're 7 members.
you know, this is an
I
event
can
that
count to
we've
4.
been working on for, you know, ever since we got done with our show in October, which is down in Hastings, you know, we started producing this show, and, you know, oh my gosh, just last weekend, you know, we were in Cadillac. There was 3,000 people at this place. Sunny, 25, no wind, that much snow on the ground. We set 2 world records out there with our timing system, you know, the people that showed up. And I want to bring that right here in this town, and the ground is great.
Sure.
So,
And your success is good for us, so that's why we're willing to work it out for you.
And I like working with you guys. I mean, I go to lots of these different things around there. You guys are cool. I really like working with you. So,
So is that amenable to you?
What's that?
We table it for now, and
We
in
will
the
table
event
it.
of weather
Yeah.
conducive,
Yep,
we'll...
you know, and that's the thing, I mean, if I can see a storm coming on, that guy's gonna be the first one that gets a call, says, I gotta call him first, okay, guys? I'm gonna call Mike first, and go, hey, you know, it looks like, you know, that the weather's gonna stay cold, look at what's gonna happen in the next 7 days. There isn't one day that's below freezing, it's not gonna happen. So even if I put together a grass drag out there, with, in time, I wanna, you know, just hit it with a rototiller and flatten it out, so I could run something on the grass, because it's too bumpy right now. But you couldn't do it because it's gonna be mud fest. I'm gonna thaw that much of it out, and it's gonna make things worse. So just don't even do it, let's get snow there. So at that point, if it looks like within between April 1st, anything after April 1st, I can worry about it. I'll give Mike a call, and then get with the powers that be that gotta go with
Make
us
it
too.
happen.
And then we'll go from there. So
Okay.
I sure wish I was telling you I had the biggest problem of where do I put all the snow, but that's not happening right now, so.
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Do I have a motion to table this?
So I would like to make a motion to table Yankee Zucker's community event application until such time as we are either contacted or until April 1st when it will expire.
Second motion, or Dan has.
We all second.
And since there's no money involved, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Okey dokey.
We get some big storms in March.
I know, and that's the thing, if I could get this to come around that fast, then I got no problem. I gotta turn it down like, and I have 12 inches of snow to work with. Then we'll fill the place up.
Let's do it.
And put it up in the middle of February. Try to get in, we can mow it down lawn. Yeah, you know, I mean, after April 1st, it's all about 40. See y'all later. Thank you. Yep.
Item F, motion to move $39,716.15 from Fund 493 White Pine Trail Staging Area Project to the general fund and close Fund 493.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
Just for clarification of the public, this is monies that apparently Cedar Springs had fronted in anticipation of getting a grant for the White Pine Trail staging area, and then the general fund was just never paid back. So we're essentially paying ourselves back.
And then closing out the fund, yes. So, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
Well, just have money in it.
Well, but we're not spending any money.
Right, moving it around.
I mean, would you prefer a roll call vote?
It's possible, but we can do it.
I can make a roll call vote.
Yeah.
Would, Mr. Hopkins, would you prefer a roll call vote?
Just in case somebody calls.
We can do a roll call vote.
Okay.
So, Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Powell,
Yes.
Ms. Nixon,
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins,
Yes.
Mr. Groves,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. The motion passes. Moving on, item G, motion to approve agreement for library services with Solon Township. There are 2 options on your tables. There is option A, the agreement is passed by Solon Township. There is option B, the agreement as redrafted by the city attorney and the city manager, or of course, we could simply approve nothing. What is the will of council?
I'm kind of confused about this.
Okay, how might I clarify for you? Ms. Bell?
What did you say is the difference between your new draft and the old draft? I just can't seem to figure it out.
The new draft has been run through Jeff Sluggett,
Uh-huh.
and he has changed some of the language on it. I believe the in perpetuity piece
The
and...
honest answer is you get two attorneys looking at a contract and you know we just have to change something.
Okay.
I personally think the biggest change is the ability to remove a director from the library board for, it was originally for willful misconduct or something, which is a virtually impossible standard to set. And I don't think that's appropriate. It's a mayoral appointment, and I think the mayor, with the advice of council, should be able to remove anybody for any reason. So that's the biggest change.
Not library director, library board member.
Well, the board members are called directors.
Okay.
Yeah. So, correct, library board member.
Because we do not hire the library,
No, we appoint our four to the library board.
and then the library board hires the library director.
Correct. But it's called the library board of directors.
Okay,
So, doesn't someone though appoint their three?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's what I think is the biggest change.
I just wanted to be clear that we are not in any way advocating with this contract that we hire or fire
No.
the person who runs the library.
We all adore and love Donna Clark, and I think her job is
But
there.
even then, if she were to retire, it would not be us that
No.
replaces her, it would be the library board that replaces her.
Correct. But most of the terms stay intact from what Solon Township sent us. I don't particularly like them or agree with them, but I think for the next 3 years, they'll come around.
Okay, so we're still in it for the 3 years. That was my big concern.
And it's not in perpetuity, correct? We
Um,
changed that piece of it?
I think we left that part intact. It does renew in perpetuity, but you do have the option to cancel it at 6 months with a 6-month notice.
So in
Okay.
2.5 years.
In 2.5 years, we could revisit it.
Yes.
Okay. Because that was one of my big concerns, because as I said, I still don't feel this is truly equitable.
Right.
And I'm willing to ride for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to ride forever.
Yeah, but the 3 years is
But
reasonable.
it was the in perpetuity that I had a problem with.
Well, I make a motion to approve the agreement with library service, Solon Township, under B.
The agreement is drafted.
Drafted, city attorney and city manager.
I would support that.
The motion has been made and supported. Any discussion? And this, I believe, involves money?
Just to be clear, we would have to send this back to the township for their approval, and I would recommend that the library board also approve it.
Okay.
But it's no money from us. We have dedicated millage, so this is money from the township, which I don't think involves
Involves us.
money. Yeah.
So I guess all in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
All those opposed, motion is unanimous. And then, Mr. Romack, you will be sending that along?
Sure, I will have the mayor and the clerk sign it, and we'll send it along to the township for their approval.
Okay, item H, motion to approve $4,000 payment to the Cedar Springs Historical Society. What's the will of the council?
So
Any discussion?
No, it's what we already told them they could have, it's just housekeeping for some reason they didn't get there.
Yes, and I would like to say, having been on the council when we had cut the Historical Society from funding and they were not receiving any, watching really how they struggled, being able to reinstate that funding, I think was very important for our community. And our Historical Society has won, the museum has won all kinds of awards, and really, in a community as old as ours, I feel like it's critical to maintain our history. They say the two most important things you give our children are roots and wings. These are our roots. Important. So, it was absolutely budgeted.
And just as a side note, the Historical Society is celebrating their 50th birthday anniversary this year, so big things are planned for that.
So, yes. And as a person who lives in a 1880s, so whatever that is, 160-year-old house, I am very committed to the preservation of the history of our community. It's very important. So, will the council, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Powell,
Yes.
Ms. Nixon.
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins, and Mr. Gross.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, it's unanimous. Thank you to the Historical Society for Ocean Passes for making our history accessible. On to item I, motion to pass a resolution 2017-03, a resolution adopting the Cedar Springs Area Recreation Master Plan as the City of Cedar Springs Recreation Plan. What is the will of the council?
I'd second that with the correction that I noticed on the school versus the city owning the lease.
I will state that there are minor changes being made to it for the next, I believe, week and a half.
Okay.
We are essentially adopting the final product and, with this motion, supporting the whole process.
Okay.
Is that clear for the maker of the motion? Yes. And clear for the seconder of the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Clerk?
Any discussion? Yes.
Can you please make a motion to make the changes in the dates in that resolution?
Yes.
February 9th.
I made that
Thank you,
mistake.
Madam Clerk.
I did. Thank you. So yes. So it would be 2017, is it still 03?
No, it's for February 9th, not March 9th. And also February 7th is when we
On the
changed it.
actual resolution.
Oh, on the resolution,
Yeah.
okay. So will the maker of the resolution support that change?
Yeah, what she said.
And the seconder?
Support.
Okay. So any discussion? Other discussion besides from the clerk? We got it? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And all those opposed say no. Motion carries 7-0. Communication, oh, wait, item J, 8J. A motion to purchase 8 Chromebooks in an amount not to exceed $1,500.
I thoroughly enjoyed this computer, this whole meeting. It scrolls, I can click on
You can
things,
see it.
I can tilt it back
It
and
doesn't
forth.
crash.
It's been great.
Madam Chair, I move that we purchase these Chromebooks not to exceed $1,500.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Being that it's 179 each, we don't have to have 3 bids, right? Not that you're probably gonna find the 3 bids okay.
Yeah, I discussed this earlier with somebody here on council. The mayor and I actually sat down and looked at about 15 different options.
We have 15 bucks.
So at least, they were all 15-inch computers. For the record, Mr. Mayor chose a $259 computer. But your city manager is a cheapskate with the $179 computer, and I think it works great.
And I would just to clarify, the manager has the discretion to purchase $500 increments. He could buy each one of these individually and not bring them to us at all.
Well, it's about, these are just.
I'm just saying, as far as the policy, he can make any individual purchase that is $500 or less. Each one of these is less than $500.
Yes.
So technically, he could buy each one of them without consulting us, not advocating that he should do that. I'm just saying, as far as the bid process.
And that's a
How much
terrific
mouse
price.
is you have to buy a separate?
The shopping
The
ones.
mouse I found upstairs. But each and every one of your computers happens to have a mouse, doesn't it?
It does.
So we will try to use as many of those as possible.
Is that the only
Other
mouse
discussion,
on
Ms.
the
Nixon, I
There are
believe?
many mouses upstairs. Some of them actually have trackballs, which don't work, by the way.
Any legs?
Any legs? Ms.
The-
Nixon has a question.
We could give them away, the mice with legs.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
At a farmer's market?
Yes, the farmer's. Anyway, whatever, completely pleased.
Freaking a little punchy.
So, yes, so, I was under the impression that the reason these would crash and we would lose our agendas and whatever else we were trying to look at was a network issue. Is that not the case?
That is not the case.
Oh.
Several of these computers are using an archaic form of Windows, Windows XP.
Mhm.
There have been no system updates for those for years.
And there's not enough hard drive space.
There's a lot of issues with these computers. They do have wireless connectivity, that is an issue sometimes, but it's primarily the computing power is insufficient and the software.
Okay, very good.
What was the recent, was it the monitors that was the new thing recently? In the last few years, I mean?
Well, whenever they would start recording, they would crash. I mean, I know that was an issue.
I don't know. They've crashed in so many different ways.
Well, this up here was like $700, whatever that hub or something was.
Yes, the access hub. Yeah.
That's to increase the Wi-Fi strength on the side of the building.
All right, any other discussion? And since it's money, I will take a roll call vote. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Mr. Gross?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. It's unanimous. We have new Chromebooks coming, so we can see what we are doing when we are in here.
Yeah, because I keep having to go like this.
I know, I got a little bit of that going on myself. All right, on to item 9, communications. Item A, January 13th, 17, GVMC update.
You know, these GVMC updates, I breezed through them to see if there's anything important. They're just updates. There wasn't anything terribly important in these 3.
All right. Moving on to any questions from the council? Moving on to item D, Michigan Medical Marijuana Act 2016 updates and amendments.
This is an old thing that the city attorney sent to us, Mr. Sloy. I'm bringing it back to you because I'm receiving a significant number of inquiries regarding medical marijuana in this community. I have done a straw poll of council. I've kind of got your feelings on the matter, and I am looking to see what possibilities there are for having either retail medical marijuana or growth facilities here in the city. I've had 2 or 3 meetings with medical marijuana advocates. I've had several phone calls, lots of emails. It's an issue that's going to hit the state in January. I'd like to be prepared for it. So I'd like council to review the Medical Marijuana Act, what Mr. Sluggett had to say, and also item G, which was a proposed ordinance brought to me by one of the advocates.
Okay. And I will say, and again, I think I'm the only one left on council, there was a conversation about a policy regarding medical marijuana when the initial ballot initiative passed. And we, I swear, voted on a policy. But you cannot find this, correct?
I can't find a policy in the ordinance specifically forbids it. I will state that the city itself voted 62% in favor of medical marijuana at that time.
We had a policy
There
that
is.
involved like distances from daycares and
It's something, because I know I had people contact me about it too, that they thought it was a yes because it messed with them.
And again,
They were
I'm not-
growers at that time, so I know there's some.
I'm not trying to advocate for it or against it. I'm simply trying to say that there was something on a piece of paper that went through an attorney.
If there is, it never made it to our ordinance, our online ordinance.
It wasn't,
It was in the paper, so.
yeah.
Okay, I guess that was the sleuthing mission for me.
And again, I guess it doesn't matter if we can all agree maybe then that it wasn't and we start from scratch. I was just trying to say we could start with whatever we had and we could amend it, but if we can't find it, that's
Well-
problematic.
And part of the issue,
Really got a good article.
part of the issue, Ms. Conley, is that the law changed.
Right.
So from 2008, whatever you guys had may be totally,
I don't
Invalid.
disagree. Again, it's just, I'm not saying I'm married to whatever that is that we passed, because quite frankly, I can't even remember what it is. So obviously, I'm not very personally committed.
again.
But if we can find it, I would be happy to amend it.
I remember it had something to do with you couldn't have basically a compassion club in the city limits, and if you was one in your house, it had something to do with how many footage from a
Yeah.
church or school or
Yes,
something
there was
like
some
that.
like distance from a school and a church. I distinctly remember that.
And that will be part of whatever ordinance is
Of course
eventually
it will.
passed anyways.
I was just gonna try to not recreate the wheel if it already existed, but if it doesn't exist, then we build the wheel.
May I read something?